Hi guys, welcome to video number 144. This video is on circles and the area and circumference of those circles. Keywords I've got for you are circumference and squared units. Now I mentioned in the last video what squared units were. That's the units of your answer for an area question. But circumference is the distance around the outside of the circle. It is the circle's perimeter, basically. Special word for it. So the method states to calculate these two separate things to do with circles, you will need to know two different formula. The area of a circle is pi multiplied by the radius squared, and the circumference of a circle is pi multiplied by the diameter. Okay, now pi has that symbol, right? What is pi? Pi is just a number, all right? On an exam paper, it's rounded off to 3.142, all right? Pi is an irrational number, it's a longer digits than that, and go on forever, 3.1415926, and so many more digits after that. There's no point remembering them, okay, because you don't need to. You've got a scientific calculator, use the pi button. If you haven't got a scientific calculator, use 3.142 if you are using a calculator in the question. Otherwise, leave your answer in terms of pi. I'll explain what that means in a minute. But yeah, pi is just a number, and it is the number of times that the diameter of the circle fits around the circumference. Okay, and that's where the formula comes from. So to use these formulas, you have to use these formulas to answer the problems depending upon what you're asked in the question. All right, now for my questions I've asked you to do both. You might not be asked to do both, you might be asked to just do one or the other, right? But in question number one, we're going to do it without a calculator because we can leave our answer in terms of pi. We've got to calculate the area and the circumference for the circles, the green one and the pink one. Okay, now in the green one we've been given what we call the radius. The radius is the distance from the center to the circumference of the circle, 3 centimeters. All right, so if we just write down area first, area equals, big A equals, pi r squared. There's our formula. Get used to it, use it, remember it. So A equals pi multiplied by 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. Okay, so equals 3 times 3, and then that would equal 9 pi. Okay, now the units would be centimeters squared. There's our area. So I'm just going to write down area equals 9 pi centimeters squared. Let me just get rid of that bit of working out so we can do the circumference. So the circumference is equal to pi d, pi times diameter. The diameter is 2 lots of the radius, 2 r's, right? So we have to go all the way across to get diameter, and that's going to be another 3, so that's 6. Circumference equals 6 multiplied by pi, or pi multiplied by 6. And that's easier written as just 6 pi. Now that would be in centimeters because the circumference is a length, all right? It's a distance around the edge of the circle. So C equals 6 pi centimeters, all right? Okay, let's look at the pink one because we're given something slightly different. We're given the diameter in this instance. So to get the radius for the area calculation that we need to do, pi times by the radius squared. To get that radius, we just have to half that diameter. So area equals pi multiplied by 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. Area equals 36 pi millimeters squared. So area equals 36 pi millimeters squared. And the circumference equals pi times by diameter. Pi times d, circumference equals 12d. Really, not 12d, 12 pi. So really simple. Circumference equals 12 pi, and that would be in millimeters. All right, pretty simple. If you know what the parts of the circle are, if you know how to calculate using the two different formula that you have to remember. Now, in question 2, A, it asks us to calculate the radius of the circle. This is something that we have to work backwards for. Okay, now the circumference is 58.8 centimeters and we need the radius, right? Now I mentioned this earlier, the diameter is equal to 2 r's, 2 lots of r. Okay, so in this case we're going to use, instead of d, we're going to put 2r in our calculation, right? So circumference equals pi multiplied by 2r. You don't have to put the multiplication symbol. You could put 2r pi if you wanted to, all right? Pi 2r, doesn't matter which way around it goes. Generally probably put pi after the 2r. But now we can substitute some numbers in. So we've got 58.8 is equal to, and that doesn't look like there's a point in there, does it? Right? Still doesn't. There you go. I'm going to write down 2r pi. All right? 2 times by r times by pi, right? Now, to get rid of the 2 and the pi, right, remember that's 2 multiplied by r multiplied by pi, right? We can divide both sides by 2 pi, right? So 58.8 divided by 2 pi gets us r on its own. That's going to work out our radius, okay? We've just rearranged it to make r the subject, basically. So I'm going to type that into the calculator as a fraction. 58.8 over 2 shift pi, right? Calculator is going to do it all in the correct order for me if I type it in this way, and that gives me 9.35. I'm going to round it to 9.36. Okay, so radius equals 9.36 centimeters, right? That's a rounded to 2 decimal places. It might state in the question what they want you to round it to, but it didn't in this one. Now, the area of the circle now can be calculated because we do have the radius. So the area equals pi r squared, which would follow the area equals pi multiplied by the answer 9.36 ... squared would be the calculation that we need to type into the calculator. Well, we've got all the digits there, so let's just type in shift pi multiplied by answer squared. Okay, then we're going to get our answer of 275.13. Okay, so the area equals 275.13 centimeters squared. All right, just double check that I did copy that down correctly. Yes, I did. Now, let's move over and have a little look at this more complicated worded contextual problem. A circular tabletop needs painting. 1 tin of paint covers 5.3 meters squared and costs £13.95 per tin. The tabletop diameter is 6.5 meters. How much will it cost to paint the tabletop? Now, this is slightly complicated and made more complicated because of other things that have been chucked into it. Right? We're told that 1 tin of paint covers a specific area, and we know it's an area because it's in meters squared, and we know the cost of 1 tin of paint. We don't have a diagram, so we could draw one. Okay, there's our circle, circular tabletop. We know that 6.5 meters is the diameter. All right, so there you go. We don't need the diameter in this instance, but we do need it to work out what the radius is. We need the radius because it's an area calculation, and that's the pi times by radius squared. So that radius is going to be 3.25, half of the 6.5, 3.25 meters. Let's just type that into the calculator because we're going to need it for the rest of the problem. So 6.5 divided by 2 is 3.25. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work out the area of that circle, that tabletop. So the area is equal to pi r squared. Area equals pi multiplied by 3.25 squared. Area equals, and we're just going to shift pi times answer squared, just like we did in the last question. I'm going to leave it as 169 over 16, lots of pi. Okay, that's the most accurate answer that I can give, and that would be in meters squared. Okay, there's the answer to the area. If that's all we needed, we've got it, right? But it isn't, because it's a contextual problem. We need to know how many tins of paint we need to buy in order to cover the tabletop. All right, we can't just buy 1 tin of paint and hope it covers it all. All right, now let's just put that in context. Actually, a little bit of understanding. 33.18 meters squared. Right, so how many tins of paint are we going to need? How many 5.3 meter squareds fit into 33.18 etc. meters squared? That's a division calculation that we need to do. So we're going to take the 169 over 16 pi meters squared, and we're going to divide it by what 1 tin covers. All right, now that meter squared and that meter squared is going to get cancelled out. It's going to leave us with a number. All right, so we're going to divide by 5.3. That number is the number of tins of paint that we need. 6.2 etc. tins needed, right? Well, we can't go to the shop and buy 6.2 tins of paint, right? So we need 7 tins, right? Very important bit that is in that calculation. We need 7 tins, right? Because you can't go into the shop and buy 0.2 of a tin, right? If you went to the checkout and said, I'll buy 0.2 of a tin, please, they'd look at you like you were crazy, right? So let's take the 7 that we need, 7, and multiply it by the cost of each tin, £13.95. Simple calculation now. And that is what we get as our final answer. So £97.65. 7 multiplied by £13.95 is equal to, I think it was £97.65. Yes, it was. 97.65. All right. Now that is a lovely contextual problem, something that you're probably going to have to do in your everyday life, not necessarily for a circle, but maybe for a different shapes area, painting a wall, carpeting a floor, those sorts of things. You're going to work out your costs. All right. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's made sense. I hope you've learned from it. Please practice by clicking the link in the description and share with other people if you feel like it's worth it. Look after yourselves, look after one another, and take care. Bye-bye.